what would you recommend for that student who doesn't have any clinical experience?
Okay, for students interested in going the clinical route, either starting with our master's program or a master's program and then going on into a doctoral program, or just going straight into a doctoral program, there's some really important steps you have to take. Beyond getting good grades and doing well on standardized tests like the GRE, it's really, really important that you demonstrate to the programs that you can, first of all, conduct research. So again, you want to seek out faculty who are doing a specific type of research you are interested in and gain some experience in that. And that doesn't mean you go right in and they throw you in and you design your own study. That means you go and join someone's ongoing project and you take some small portion of it and you develop your own little area with it, with the guidance of the faculty member, and possibly present something at a conference. And if you are very far ahead and the faculty is very far ahead of the game, you might even get published, get a co-authorship on a publication. That's rare and it's not necessary, really. But just gaining some experience is good because the school is going to be investing in you to complete their program. And so you really need to demonstrate to them that you've had some of these skills and you can actually do it. So that's one really important component. The other really important component is getting some clinical experience. And that, again, doesn't have to be go in and see clients right away. But what's important is you have to be able to demonstrate that you've had some skills in that area. So that could be some of our programs here on campus, like peer groups through the Counseling Center, JADE and DATE and some of those programs, or off campus working with domestic violence programs. There are hotlines like suicide hotlines where they'll train you. They'll give you some really good training for how to deal with emergency and critical situations like that. Having some experience in that area not only helps you understand whether that's the kind of work you want to do, but it also shows the program that you are capable of doing that kind of work and you have some skill set for that.
Many students freak out when it comes time to take the graduate record exam or the GRE. What are your general tips for students looking to take that?
Yeah, I mean, that's very common. Everyone goes through it. Everyone reacts that way. So don't let that impact your confidence. I would say, first of all, make sure to give yourself enough time to take the exam before your applications are due, or even if you're not sure when you're applying, your scores are good for 5 years. So when you have a good time that you have time to study for it, that's a good time to take it. That way you can give yourself time to potentially take it again if you need to. But I would say don't go in with the attitude that you're going to need to take it again. You definitely want to prepare. It's, a waste of your time and money to go in there unprepared. So you do want to spend some time studying for the exam ahead of time and studying specifically with materials from that test, right? It's a really different test from one you've taken before. It's not like a regular exam that you would take in one of your classes, so you really want to be familiar with exactly what that test is like and prepare for it specifically. A good time to prepare for it is maybe during the summer or another time when you don't have your other classes going on, so you can really focus on it. So in the GRE, there's a couple of different sections. So there's verbal and there's math. For the verbal section, one thing you want to think about is studying a lot of vocabulary. Unfortunately, that's a big part of it. So do your best to memorize as many words as you can. It's one of those really rare times when quantity is more important than quality when studying vocab, because if you've at least familiarized yourself with a lot of words, then if you see them on the test, then it'll be helpful to you, even if you don't remember exactly what they all mean. And then for math, one of the important things to think about is timing of the exam. So even though the math itself is not that challenging as far as what types of questions, it's geometry, it's challenging in that you haven't had this math in a long time, you haven't thought about it since high school, but it doesn't go through calculus or anything that you haven't learned yet. But the difficulty with the test is that it's a really short period of time in which you have to answer those questions. So one thing that some students one mistake that some students make in preparing for the math section is to do all of their practice untimed
Right.
and just try to learn how to solve all the problems, but then when they get to the test, they haven't practiced doing it really quickly.
Right.
So it's important to maybe start out untimed and kind of remind yourself of the different formulas and things like that, but eventually you really want to spend a lot of time practicing within the time constraints to make sure that you can finish in that amount of time. And that really involves a lot more of practicing sort of problem solving and big picture solutions and kind of tricks, as opposed to just sitting there and doing long calculations over long time stretches.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I think somebody had told me that I should do at least 2 practice exams prior to going in and time them, and that does really make it real when you sit down and you pretend like you're in the test, and here's time period, and I have to get it done by then.
Definitely.
Great. Do you think every CSUN student will take the GRE?
No, that's definitely something you have time to figure out if that's going to be part of your path. Most students applying to graduate school will end up taking the GRE whether they're applying to master's programs or PhD programs. It's usually a requirement for most programs, and you definitely don't want to have to limit yourself to only applying to schools that don't require the GRE, which is not that many. But if you end up not planning to go to graduate school, then it's not something you'll have to worry about. So you can wait a little bit until you figure out if that's part of your plan.
Great.
I have a game for you.
Okay.
All right, and your game is, we're going along the island theme. So if you were stuck on an island, I want each of you to give me one item that you could take with you on this island. Okay? And I want you to tell me what professional skill it represents that a student would have. So, for instance, you want me to give you an example?
Yes.
For instance, you might take a cell phone with you, and that phone represents good communication. So, students who are professional have good communication with their faculty members.
Got it.
Okay? So, we're going to have you buzz in. So get your buzzers ready. You're going to hit the table. And the person who gets the most, you get a point for each item/professional skill that you identify. Okay? But you have to buzz in first.
Sure.
Okay. Buzz in whenever you're ready. Okay.
Okay, I would take a notebook, but
Why?
I need a pen with it. Is that 2 items?
You know what?
I would take a notebook
pen.
that's attached to a pen, because you have to be able to keep track of a lot of things on the island or in the lab, so it's important to be really organized and to always kind of keep track of what assignments you have or what you're learning in the lab or what someone's asking you to do, and that would be helpful on the island as well.
Cool. Okay.
I would take a compass, because I think, especially in the position of 301 students right now, navigation of the major is an important part of your career. It's an early part of your career, but navigation on the island obviously would be important. I'm really bad at that without a compass, but the metaphorical compass for our students would be things like our website.
Great.
Oh, I have.
Buzz in. Go ahead.
Buzz.
It's 1-to-1 right now.
I would take fire making supplies. So you need to light a fire under you eventually as you're going through on this island or in your preparation, to find something that you're passionate about that you can ignite.
Great.
Okay, beep. What are those things called that shoot up in the air so people can save you?
Flare.
Flare. Okay, so some flares. And that's kind of like, you have to make yourself known while you're here. You don't want to just be some random student to people around you. You want to be that student who is making connections and is friendly and has a smile and nods at you and can go out and do important things.
Great. Good. Okay, it's 2-2.
Okay.
Anybody going for 3 points? Dr. Fahmy.
A knife. Maybe to I haven't thought of the analogy yet. Like to cut through all of the kind of obstacles that might seem to impede progress as a student at an undergraduate university. I think sometimes there's these big obstacles, but if you had a knife to just cut through them and just keep moving forward, that would be fantastic.
Nice, like a machete.
Machete.
Going for that?
Machete.
Metaphorically.
Metaphorical machete.
Not a real one.
Which is really just a positive attitude and some perseverance.
Right. Dr. Fahmy, you are our new winner. Yay!
Can we add applause to the video?
Yeah.